As a child, we all long for a hero. As a society as a whole, we search for that leader that can be our hero. But as we mature and as we grow, it dawned on us that the hero is inside every one of us. And in the world's social media, we all start at zero. And slowly we search deep within ourselves to find who we are. And we have that moment of truth where we embrace that the hero that we've been searching for has been there all along. It is living deep inside of every one of us. And we start embracing that journey and we become that hero that we search for.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to episode 83 of Zero to Hero. Quick apology to everybody that is watching outside of LinkedIn. We had to give LinkedIn a couple seconds to catch up with the everywhere else that we're broadcasting, but welcome to Zero to Hero. We've got another awesome guest coming at you today. He is the president of MVP Plumbing, Air Conditioning, Heating, Cooling, Electric. His name is Kyle O'Neill, so let's go ahead and bring him in. Kyle, how are you today?
I'm doing well, Gino. How are you?
Oh man, it couldn't be better. I woke up today, so every day I wake up is another beautiful day that I'm blessed with. So definitely.
You would have thought that we planned this out ahead to know when it's going to be 102 degrees outside to bring in an HVAC company for the show. So I really appreciate your foresight to make that happen.
Yeah, I pulled out the Farmer's Almanac months ago when we set this up and saw that it was going to be pretty treacherous this week. So
yeah.
It's good timing for sure. It's funny. I was talking to a buddy we're going to Florida with in October, and he's like, "Let me know what day you want to golf." And I was like, look, we're 3 months away, man. I mean, you can't differ too much in Florida, right? But I'm not gonna know, right? So let's figure that out when we're a little bit closer. But yeah, man, it is it's scorching out there. I'm sure there's plenty of people's HVAC units that are absolutely struggling right now that might need a tune up or a cleaning or a few of those different services that you offer. So while we're talking about it, tell everybody a little bit about what you guys do there at MVP. Obviously, HVAC being one of those things. So if you're sweating in your house watching this right now, definitely pick up the phone. Pause the broadcast. You can come back to it, give MVP a call, but let everybody know out there what you do and what you guys got going on.
Yeah, so we're a full service home services company out of Lenexa, Kansas. We service really all the Kansas City metro area through HVAC. HVAC can be, your maintenance, like you were mentioning earlier, your tune-up, or your full-on replacement. So just when your 15-year-old unit can't go any further, we come out and replace that as well. So the other two businesses that we have are plumbing, which that's your drain services. So maybe your shower gets backed up, or your kitchen sink won't drain, or maybe even worse, your main line gets backed up. We come out and can help you with a solution for that. And then it's just the full-on service plumbing, which is, do you need a new faucet? Do you need a new bathtub put in, that type of thing? We do that as well. And then finally, our last business is electrical. So, if it's Christmas time and, you're plugging in all your trees and everything, and you got all your lights and you run out of room and don't want to overwork the electricity in your house, give us a call and we can put in some extra plugs or upgrade your breaker for you. So Those are the three main businesses that we have.
Yeah, get that panel upgrade. I think that might be something I'm going to need to give you guys a call about here shortly. We actually just had a microwave fry like 6 months ago, and I think it's because the panel was overloaded and it just crushed that thing.
Yeah, I'll tell you, with the rise of EV vehicles, which we do a ton of EV chargers, we actually have a partnership here as a preferred partner with Tesla. So we're on their website and everything. That keeps us busy, but there's a lot more electricity that's running through homes. And even like we also have a partnership with the Ford Lightning, which is a backup generator. So, last week or whenever it was that we had all the storms, and your Ford Lightning was generating electricity in your home. We put in those chargers as well too. So.
That's awesome. Yeah, and obviously the EV thing is something that's really interesting. Actually, just saw something out of California. Was that yesterday or the day before? I guess they told everybody to limit the charging on their electric vehicles because it was overloading everything, which obviously California is kind of notorious, or was already, with like rolling blackouts and overloading circuits and everything like that. But they vowed to get rid of all gas vehicles in California. I think it was by like 2035. So it was like literally like a week after they announced it. They're like, all right, everybody chill on charging your cars.
Do this, but only do it at midnight. Yeah.
You're only allowed to have these, but yeah, you can only charge it halfway. Whatever. It's very, very California way of thinking for sure. Yeah. And I say that as somebody that lived in California for about 8 years.
You know firsthand.
Yeah, been there, done that for sure. That's awesome. So you guys have a wide variety of services at MVP. Do you have anything big coming up here that you want to let anybody know about? Obviously, we're getting into fall. I know, as the seasons change, right now we're thinking about how hot it is. Right here in a couple short months, we're going to be thinking about how cold it is. Right. So what do you guys got coming up?
Yeah. So we, just to kind of give a little bit of background on MVP, we've been around for 18 years. The last 3 have been with a partnership with a company called Southwind, which is 1-800-GOT-JUNK, You Move Me, in Dreamlawn. Really since last September, we've purchased 3 other companies here within the Kansas City metro area. Wow. So we're currently the largest locally owned HVAC home service company in Kansas City. So those companies were Rudolph Heating and Cooling out of Belton, Missouri, APW, which was out of Shawnee, Kansas, and then Heartland Quality, which was the latest one, which was out of Lee Summit. So we're really excited. I'm not going to lie to you and say it's been easy to bring merge 4 families together and, kind of keep the culture. But I'm really proud of, what we have become in the Kansas City metro area. And where I'm going with this is our memberships, which are, a lot of people are part of some membership where they get a discount for their home services. It's anywhere from $10 to $20 a month that they pay. We went from about 1,500 of those to 4,000. Wow. And probably by the end of this calendar year, we'll be upwards of 5,000 just in the Kansas City metro area. So our big focus right now is how can we best provide a membership experience that is second to none. So some of the stuff that we're, I'm not going to go too much into it because I don't want to let too much cat out of the bag, but we're doing some proactive monitoring of HVAC systems. So, we're partnering with a company out of California currently, piloting a few homes as we speak. But what it's going to do is, Gino, if you have, a membership with MVP, you'll have a digital monitoring system within your HVAC and within your furnace, and it'll monitor, or it will measure the electricity that's being generated by your unit to potentially anticipate, like, hey, Gino, by the way, it's going to be 103 today, and this is what happened yesterday. You might have a problem by 4 p.m. this afternoon, type of thing. So yeah, just to be proactive about it, and the customer will have a portal for it, get that notification. We'll know it at the same time, because, at the end of the day, like, this business is, when it gets 103 degrees outside, people are calling us. We're trying to change that and be proactive to provide a better customer experience for all of our members, and hopefully set us apart from the competition here in Kansas City with that. And then I would say the second thing is, and this is probably what I'm the most excited about that MVP is doing and the impact that it's going to make on Kansas City. We're launching a trade academy that's going to be coming out of MVP. It's called the Southwind ProTech Academy. And this is going to be for people that, don't have any trade experience, but know that maybe college isn't for me. I'm sure you've seen it. The price of the tuition in colleges has gone up by over 240%. And really the wages that you receive after colleges, are not keeping up with that. And then on top of it, you're just loaded with a bunch of student debt in most cases. So we're trying to provide an alternative for people that, want to do something. Maybe they're not ready for college. Maybe they don't want to go to college, and the trade is something that they've, thought about, but maybe didn't know how to do it. And the academy is going to be, obviously, our first wave is going to be geared at plumbers. So it's going to be a 16-week course. 3 days they're going to be in a classroom, and then 2 days they're going to be in the field learning for, hands-on what they're doing. And then when they're finished with that, they'll have a full-time job, a van, and it's they can kind of start their career and get off on a good path, at a very young age. So, in addition to that, like we're adding in some soft skills like, finances, 401k, some of the stuff that, if I would have known when I was that age, I would have been saving a lot more, so we're hoping to give back and just build some really good technicians and provide a good customer experience for all of our customers and really just change people's lives and make them into something that maybe they didn't believe that they would be able to do. So.
Yeah, both those things are absolutely incredible. I mean, obviously, when it gets this hot, there's people that this heat is really dangerous for, right?
Mm-hmm.
And by the time it gets there and their system is breaking, and then it's like, hey, we're out 2 weeks already, right? Or whatever the case may be. I mean, that can really definitely get into some dangerous territory. So I love that the proactive, right? And I think a lot of people don't even know when their HVAC is strong. I mean, I'm not an HVAC technician. The majority of people, right? Vast majority aren't, right? So how are you going to know without something like that? So that's definitely a beautiful thing. And I love this school. So you guys, they go to the school, they're learning all these things that they should learn. By the way, if you're 18 and you have an opportunity to start investing in a 401k, do it then, right? Because when you're 35, it becomes significantly harder to build that thing up, right? So you absolutely nailed that. So you're teaching them all this stuff, and then when they get out, I mean, you're bringing them into MVP, or are you guys partnering with other companies?
Yeah, so they're going to be technicians for us, right?
That's awesome.
So we and it's nothing against technicians, but technicians kind of can sometimes develop bad habits, and we do our best to be like, I know this was acceptable here, but maybe it's not here, and we keep a close eye on it, but our thought is, man, we can make an impact on a bunch of young people's lives. And in return, really, really hone them in and teach them the right way to do it and the proper way to do it. And then, help them provide for their family. So it's like I said, it's probably the most rewarding project that I've been a part of in my career, just because of the impact that it's going to make.
Yeah, that's absolutely incredible. And I know, college isn't for everybody. It wasn't for me, right? And there wasn't a ton of resources out there other than go find a job somewhere or join the military, right? I went the military route, which thankful and regretful at the same time, right? But, had there been other things that were out there, maybe something else to look into, right? So definitely appreciate that and providing those resources for everybody that's out there.
Yeah.
Well, Kyle, let's get into the meatier part of the show here. So kind of setting MVP aside, right, which I know is probably pretty hard for you to do. I'm sure you're wrapped up in there. But setting that aside, in a couple sentences, tell us, who is Kyle O'Neill? Give us your elevator pitch.
I would say, I'm 15 years into my career. And, I started off cleaning toilets, and now I'm the president of a $20 million company.
I love it.
I can elaborate more onto that if you want me to.
Yeah, who are you outside MVP? That's what I want to know. Who's Kyle O'Neill, man?
Yeah, so I was born and raised in Kansas City. My parents were both teachers, so we grew up in a very modest household, which I can certainly appreciate now. But I was raised well in the Lee Summit area of Kansas City. I went to O'Hara High School, which is no longer at St. Michael's. So that's always fun to tell people that you went to high school that doesn't exist anymore.
Blast from the past. Yeah, I remember.
A little bit. I'm not bitter about it, though, Gino. I'm not bitter, So, and then I played collegiate football at Pittsburgh State University, and then and then I finished up at Mid-American Nazarene here in Olathe, Kansas. So I'm a Kansas City, Missouri / Kansas guy through and through. I've lived a little bit outside of Kansas City, which I'll go into here in a little bit, but really my career started with an internship in college with a company called Cintas. And like I said, I went through basically 2 years, and it's a great fortune. It's the stock went from $19 a share to when I left, it was at 420. So wow. It was a cool company to be a part of. But I started off with, you got to start at the bottom and work your way up. So it was, cleaning out restrooms and spraying down in restaurants in Westport, the ones that I was at just a few months before, but not cleaning, in doing that, and kind of getting my feet underneath me in my career, and then just kind of worked my way up into a senior level executive role in Colorado over multiple states and several hundred employees at the end. So really, it is a fun journey, but that's kind of my story.
I love it, man. There's nothing better than Kansas City boys. I tell you what, for sure. We're a little biased, I'm sure, but it's I love it for sure. So MVP has been around for quite a while now, but when you guys opened, we had zero social media following, right? I mean, it was you starting channels, right? We're opening things. So talk a little bit about, where we started at and kind of how you've gotten to where you're at now with your social media presence.
Yeah, so I've been the president here for about a year, so I'll speak a little bit about things that happened before I was here. But you're right. I mean, it did start at really zero social media presence. But once we merged with Southwind, which is a big presence, it's a $150 million company here in Lenexa that we're a part of. That's really when things started to take off from a social media perspective. So I'm sure people have seen our billboards around town and seen our commercials, but the main people that are in those, I get to work with every day. So that's Chip Gabbert. So he's actually was the original founder of MVP. He's the shorter one. The taller one is actually a former NFL football player. He's known as Dip on Gino's we were talking about before we went on air. He's the Dip, I guess you would say, but he actually played in the NFL for the Minnesota Vikings, the New Orleans Saints, and he's a partner here at the organization as well too. But his name is Aaron Hosack. So we've kind of purposely made them the face of the organization on Facebook and on all of our social media platforms. And like I was saying, like we went to I think one of our vendors took us to a Chiefs game here this year, and it was, people were walking through the crowd and everybody's just coming up and giving them high fives. I'm like, I'm chopped liver compared to these guys, but it's like everybody sees them all over. So that goes to show that, our strategy is working, so.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the biggest thing when it comes to marketing. Obviously, your trucks are everywhere as well. They got beautiful wraps on them, right? I mean, it's very obvious when you see an MVP truck. So yeah, I think that's it. When it comes to marketing in general, right? It's just staying top of mind for people. And obviously, you guys have formulated some ways to do that, to where even people at Arrowhead are coming up and wanting to introduce themselves and kind of be a part of that, right? So that's awesome.
Yeah, and what I'd say is, like, there's, not to get too, into our industry, there's different thoughts about call to action versus brand. And, I think, we've focused heavily on the brand, but we're starting to get into more of call to action, like for drain calls. And really, we've taken a strategy of these companies that we've purchased as well too, because there is a lot of consolidation in the space and people have different theories about it. Some people say, hey, keep the name Heartland, keep the name APW, keep them separate and keep them open. We felt strongly about our brand marketing, so we decided to merge everybody and kind of make them one. But that was definitely a discussion, and I think we made the right decision. But there's obviously a case to be made the other way. So our marketing is heavy brand focused right now, with the exception of, like I was saying, of like the drain calls and stuff. Like we have a 63 or it's free commercial that rolled out about a week ago that I don't know if anybody's seen it yet, but it's out there. So that's kind of our philosophy behind it currently.
Absolutely. And I think that you guys are doing it the right way. I mean, it's, the thing that people think about when they have issues going on, right, is not what was that one number that one guy said to call, it's who have I seen, right? Who do I know that can fix this right off the top of my head, right?
Yep, absolutely.
And with that brand recognition, right, it's like, oh man, HVAC, plumbing, whatever it is, right? MVP, right? I mean, it's very easy to, let me Google MVP. Your number's right here. I'm looking at it on my screen, right? Super easy to find it and make that phone call. And then obviously your online billboard, your website has all the services that you guys list. So if they have a question, they can just go check that out, right? But I think obviously there needs to be calls of actions, in social media and some certain, that's the algorithm, right? And all that kind of stuff, or, people are definitely pushing on LinkedIn. You have to have a call to action. You have to have a call to action. I don't necessarily agree with that. It can be helpful, right? But yeah, I think just having that brand out there where people, you're the first one that they think about, is vastly, vastly more important.
Yeah, and I would just add to that why brand is so important, especially in our space. And I know there's a lot of other similar industries. Nobody wakes up and says, I hope I get to call MVP today. Or I've been saving up all this money. Now I want to give it to MVP. Like,
burning a hole in my pocket. I think.
Yeah, exactly. So you got to think the people that are calling us aren't, maybe always thinking straight, because something emotional, like there's water running down their sheetrock, or their main line is backing up and they can smell sewage in their house, or it's 95 degrees outside and they don't have air conditioning. Nobody is like, oh, I've been praying for this moment. I finally get to call. Like, I finally get to call
on my fridge for years.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to have, like, that's why that brand recognition is so important. It's just because people don't always have time to, I'm going to get 7 bids on this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to call these 3 people. Like, they just call who like what's in their mind and what they've seen. And that's why we have such a heavy billboard presence and mass media presence in Kansas City currently.
I love it. Great answers, man. Now, every superhero, when we watch those movies, they've got these defining moments that really put them on their course, right? What do you think your defining moment is when it comes to your career and your life?
Yeah, I mean, from a career perspective, I would say, like, the company that I was with previously, like, it was a big role in a big region, but it was business to business, like, it was business to business relationships. So it was anything from, like, going to service defibrillators, that are in schools, to PPE, to first aid supplies, to remain OSHA compliant. I was in Denver, Colorado at the time, and over Denver, Wyoming, parts of Utah, and all the way down to New Mexico as well too. But when COVID hit and Colorado becomes locked down, it's one of those things where, like, your life kind of flashes in front of you a little bit, because you're like, how are we going to be able to function, like, as a company, as a region? Like, all our business model was we go out to companies and, make suggestions. They tell us, what they need, and, we provide that for them. So to not be able to have that, and to, we all kind of looked at each other like, what the heck are we going to do now, type of thing. And honestly, like, our business shifted. Like, we kind of, like, created our own, like, internal purchasing team in our region. And we shifted the whole model to really providing masks, providing hand sanitizer, which we already did this stuff, but it was like a small portion of our warehouse. But it became and that turned into, we're renting, storage units to store N95 masks in, and we're, talking to manufacturers in China, and it really just shifted everything. So I'd say the camaraderie that we built as a team was something in my career that I'll never forget. And then, on top of it, you're providing, in some cases, is life-saving medical equipment to places that maybe you never would. So we were much more in hospitals as opposed to the businesses that we were in. We formed a partnership with Vail Resorts, which is, Keystone, Breckenridge, and we were providing for all the workers that were up there. So we really had to make a shift, and, it's, and luckily we were able to save most of the people on our team and keep them, employed. So I would say, like, from a career standpoint, that is by far, the biggest thing that's probably happened to me in my career. So I can look back and say, like, man, a few wrong decisions that could have gone a different trajectory. Yeah. But what we did during that time, really helped out the whole state of Colorado and possibly saved some lives. So.
Yeah, that's amazing. And I'm sure that experience, with bringing those people together and all that has really helped you with all the acquisitions that you guys have had to deal with, and kind of keeping that culture. You kind of mentioned there was, like, a name deal earlier, right? Where I'm
Yeah.
sure it was the employees of those companies that were like, we really like, our
Yeah.
brand, right? We
Yeah.
really like our name.
Yeah.
And I could see that creating some tension. So it sounds like you guys have navigated through that wonderfully. I'm sure,
Yeah.
what was going on, your previous experience helped with that as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
love
I
it.
would say, yeah, personally, I would say like my leaving corporate America and trying to like figure out what life looks like. And I know this kind of bleeds into career as well too. So my wife and I had, newborn twins along with our 11-year-old daughter, and we knew it was just time to leave corporate America at the time. And it was kind of like a personal thing for me, like, hey, well, what's this next step? Like, what do you want to do? Where do you want to live? Because at that point we're in Denver. We moved back to Kansas City, and really just took a few months off to kind of get our family back together and to figure things out and kind of get over that post-COVID, whatever fog that everybody was in. So us as a family, that was a defining moment. And then that's when I made the decision to come over to MVP, and as opposed to, being in corporate America, kind of to build something from the ground level up, I would say was something that was big for me.
I love that. Yeah, that's got to be one of my defining moments as well, was deciding to move back to Kansas City and where we go from here. I love that, man. That's so awesome. Now, obviously heroes and villains both have attributes, right? Some are similar, some are different, that cause them to go different ways, right? What are the attributes that you feel really define what a hero is?
I would say one is resilience, right? So I've been knocked down. I can't tell you how many times in my career. Heck, I've been knocked down a couple of times this morning with some things as well. But I think just getting back up is the hardest part. And, we have a lot of young people within our organization, and I don't know if I'm young or old yet. I'm on this like weird halftime.
Depends on who you ask.
Like, I think I'm teetering both, but I'm still going to call myself young as well too. But, just to kind of share with them, like, man, half the battle. And I think, when you talk about heroes, it's just showing up. Like, you don't have to have everything figured out. You don't have to have all the answers to everything. And I just think it like back to my career and really my family life is just like, yeah, I got hit. I made some mistakes, but as long as you're learning from them and, you're actually trying and putting forth the effort, you learn so much more than sitting on the sidelines, just saying like, you know what, that looks hard, or this didn't go my way, I'm not going to do it. So I would say that's the main, and then just the adaptability piece. Like, you have to be adaptable, like I've spent, 14, 15 years in corporate America. Now I'm in a company that I'm, hopefully building up into getting that same size. But, there's been some times I'm like, man, it'd be nice to be back over there. Like, they have a lot of these resources that I don't have, but you have to be adaptable with it. And I think that kind of goes back into the resiliency piece as well too. So.
Yeah, no, I would 100% agree, especially real life heroes, right? I mean, there's obviously, the Supermans and Ironmans out there that have a ton of attributes, right? But I think, yeah, you're 100% right. When it comes to real life heroes, I think showing up is got to be one of the biggest ones. And then, like Rocky said, it's not about how many times you fall down. It's about how many times you can, get up or get hit and keep going forward, right? So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, the resilience is huge, man, for sure. So last question for you, Kyle. I'm gonna ask you to compare yourself to any superhero that's out there, but I'm also gonna ask you to give us a couple reasons why that superhero.
Yeah. So and again, this is I'm a Superman guy. Like, I show my kids the old Christopher Reeves movies, and it also makes you think, like, I thought that was like a good, graphic at the time. And then they're looking at it, I'm like, well, that's just weird looking. So I was the kid who had the Superman pajamas with the cape on it. And I would like terrify my parents and jump down the stairs and land on my little brother. So I can't, I thought about going different directions and getting a little bit more creative with it. But it's Superman. And when I think about Superman, I think about, just like I was saying earlier, he just always showed up. Like, he was always there. Like, he never backed down from anything. And it was always like he was always there, like right at the right time when people didn't see it. And I think, you know, when you think about like his character, it was Clark Kent and Superman. I just think, and I used to do this too when I was a little kid, like dress underneath, like tear off my shirt real quick, and I'd have on like my Superman stuff underneath of it. I think when I think back to Clark Kent and his just recognition of like, okay, there's something going on. I see that. I'm going to run to it. Because I think so many times, you know, in this world, like we see stuff and you're like, man, that just looks really hard. I don't want to do that. I want to go the path of least resistance. And it's so easy to walk by things that maybe we see and you're going to think, man, that's a lot of work, or I don't know if I can do this job, even though I know what might be at the end of this. I don't know if I can do it because I can't put in the things that it's going to take to be there, that it's going to take to get there. And when I think about Superman, it's like he knew what that was. He knew the task at hand, and he never backed down from it, and he always ran to it. So I don't know if that's at least what I strive to be. I don't know if I'm 100% always there, but that's at least my goal.
I love it. Yeah, and it kind of goes back to the resiliency piece as well, right? It's just, you know, he was always there, and he got beat up quite a bit, but he just kept on showing up, right? And kind of with the mental resilience as well of, you know, I don't know if I can do that. I think a lot of people do struggle with that, right? Of that mental resiliency and realizing that your brain is a computer, and the more negative that you put in there, the more negative you're going to get out on the other side, right? So, you know, if you are one of those people struggling with that, start shoving positivity in there, man. You can do it. I promise you can do it if you get out there and try. Kyle, you're a perfect example of that, man. I appreciate you coming on. How can people keep up with MVP? Where can they follow you? How do they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so we're on all social platforms, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. But yeah, we are it's www.themvpkc. Sometimes people think it's MVPKC, but don't forget to put the. And you can get a hold of us. And if you go on our website, there's actually if you need to schedule an appointment, that's actually tied into our CRM. So you're more than welcome to call us. We'd love to talk to you, work through any problem. We can be that shoulder to cry on when your AC goes out. But if you would like to schedule your appointment on the website, you can do that directly, and that goes directly into our CRM, and we'll see that and get out to you as soon as possible.
I love it. So get on there, schedule your appointment, do it before it gets too much hotter, man, for sure. If that thing is struggling already, you know, you're starting to hear the AC, man. It's definitely time to give these guys a call. Just jump on the website. Matter of fact, schedule that appointment. I do want to put up your LinkedIn real quick, MVP Air Conditioning, Heating, Electric. So go give them a follow there. And then you can check out their YouTube page as well. There's a ton of video content. You'll see Chip, you'll see Dip up there for sure, having a good time. So go check that out. Kyle, man, thank you again for coming on. You're awesome.
Gino, it's an honor. Thanks for having me.
Hey, are we still live? Hey, guys, we're still live. Hey, guys. This is Kevin Kwok, founder of J29 Creative Group. So who are we? We're a marketing agency here in Kansas City. We're all about a holistic approach to marketing that builds your brand and nurtures online community. But to be honest with you, you guys don't care.